Welcome to the Euro Lounge.
Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about wraps and not the sandwich ones.
A lot of people on the internet say the vinyl wraps are not great for long-term solutions. Can you actually dispel that myth for us here? Is like vinyl wraps versus paint, what's the better long-term choice?
It's interesting because I've never heard that. First of all, vinyl versus paint is not, it's a loaded question and it doesn't really apply to the color change aspect of things because you bring a vehicle that's already painted
Yes.
and we wrap over it to change the color of it. So it's not like vinyl over paint. What people sometimes refer to is like when they have fading on their colors or the scratches.
Yeah.
We have wrapped gloss black vehicles, gloss black in the
Wow.
past. And we've done it several times. And the idea was there was door panels that were faded. There was lots of scratches and clear coat peeling off. And then we just got it wrapped. And why did we do that? Well, it was because vinyl wrapping, it's significantly quicker. It's
For
fully
sure.
reversible. And it's generally cheaper or more inexpensive than painting a
Painting,
vehicle.
yeah.
When you paint a vehicle, you have to dismantle it completely. You have to mask it and tape it. In many cases, you're taking the windshield out, taking the vehicle for a proper paint
To do a
job.
proper job, yeah.
Yeah, even if you didn't want to do a proper job, you still have to tape the windshield
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
all the other mask the headlights and everything else, right?
The prep is half of the
And then the sanding. You can't just paint a car. You got to sand it right down properly. And if there's any sort of like a chipping or anything else, you got to get it sanded, bondoed, and so on.
yeah.
By the time they're done with that process, we've already finished the wrapping, right? So it's significantly faster. And that applies for vehicles that kind of you're doing the same color on a vehicle that's black on black.
Yeah.
It's because people just want to freshen up their paint. But when it comes to color change, it's definitely a myth.
Okay.
And we're debunking that right now.
Nice. Nice.
We
have a
there's-
whole bunch of vinyl.
I
behind
mean,
us here.
yes. And some of these vinyls is actually 7 years old. But we've seen vehicles that we did 7 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And vinyl's pristine.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, that S6 that's in the parking lot right
Yeah.
now, you're going to post some pictures of that. That vinyl is, better Stefan, you better fact check this, but I think it's 6 or 7 years old.
Wow.
Look at it.
It looks
There's
good.
certain
looks
areas,
good.
there's very certain areas where on the high stretch points where the vinyl is starting to crack a little bit,
Okay.
but it's 7 years later
Yeah.
and that vehicle is stored outside in the sun, in the snow, and it doesn't get necessarily
The best.
detailed,
Yeah,
the best
yeah.
care.
Yeah.
And that's 7 years later.
That's really good.
Yeah. And here's the best part about it.
Tell me.
Here's what we're debunking.
Yes.
Once you are done with it, you take it off, and the paint underneath it is in the exact same shape that it was 7 years ago when you wrapped it.
That's true.
So
Do you think that vinyl, like the longevity and durability of vinyl, is better or worse than paint? Because I know, like, sometimes like if you leave a car out in the sun, clear coat starts peeling and it starts fading and stuff.
I don't think you can. I don't even know if you can actually measure it that way because you're talking. They're completely different
They're completely
materials
different.
here. It's like you're not comparing apples to apples, right?
Okay.
But look at Honda. I mean, most manufacturers have this issue, but look at Honda clear
Honda has
coat on
it
their
really
roofs,
bad.
right? Really bad. You see 2-year-old vehicles, 6-year-old vehicles, 8-year-old vehicles where the clear coat is just coming
Gone.
right off the
Yeah.
vehicle, right? And vinyl, on the other hand, same thing. That's a good example. 7 years, still good. It's
Yeah.
just starting to lose its function,
Yeah.
its durability after 7 years, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, like that's physics. Like nothing really.
Sure, I
lasts
mean, like
forever.
that's right. I
You know
mean,
what
you
I
have the
mean?
sun,
You have the sun
you have the
beating down,
UV light, and then you have
temperature
minus 30
changes.
degrees.
Yeah, like
Right. And again, you can stretch this vinyl for 20 years if you put it indoors. You
Yeah.
always park it inside, out of the UV light, out of the snow loads and the cold temperatures.
it'll be good.
But again, vinyl wrap started as PPF, which is paint protective films.
Okay.
Paint protective film is designed. It's kind of like you're wearing safety glasses.
So it's not supposed to be a.
It's not supposed to
paint
last forever.
replacement.
Correct.
It's supposed to be
It's
a
not-
paint protector.
Protective film.
Okay.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's like wearing safety glasses, and you just never want those. How are those glasses gonna last longer than my eyeballs? Or the idea is you put those over to take the abuse of the elements, right?
Yes, yes. that
And that's
makes
what the
sense.
vinyl is. It doesn't replace, like you said, the paint. It just protects it. So when you buy a brand new vehicle, and we do this all the time, customers buy a brand new Yukon
Yeah.
right after lot, or the RS6s, for example, they come right after lot. They come to us and we wrap them. First and foremost, you're getting the protection of the paint.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 4 years later, you can take the paint off. You can go and trade a vehicle in,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get way more value out
For
of it
sure.
than what you're paying
The
into
paint looks
wrapping
brand
it.
new.
Brand spanking new.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, you're getting the color that you've always wanted. I mean, you're not gonna buy a flat metallic gray RS6,
RS6, yeah.
but you can wrap it.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of pros here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's relatively inexpensive. I mean, how much
Different
do
depending, yeah.
vehicles cost nowadays? I mean, the cheapest entry level vehicle is $40,000-$50,000.
Yeah.
If you go into the Yukons and so on, $100,000+,
Yeah.
and you're paying $4,000 to have a vehicle wrapped in a color that you've always wanted, I don't think
It
that
works.
Yeah, so
It's worth it.
So I think that kind of just debunks everything.
Okay.
But
Guys, we're gonna ask the same question now to our certified 3M vinyl tech, Stefan. We're gonna cut to him now. As you can see here, we have Stefan. He is our in-house vinyl wrapping expert and a 3M certified tech. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Vinyl wraps versus paint. What's a better choice, short term and long term? Is there one that's better for short term, one that's better for long term?
Yeah, of course.
Which one would you recommend for short term?
Personally, I don't think they're even comparable.
Why is that?
Painting to vinyl wrap. They're two different things.
Okay, cost wise, what's the difference?
It really depends where you get it. Where
Okay.
you get the paint done, or same thing with the wrapping done. You
Yeah.
can get a wrap job for $1,500. Will it last? Probably not. But you can also get a wrap job that's $10,000. That's PPF, but those PPF wraps
Yeah.
are made to protect your paint underneath, and also change your color if you want to. So, I mean, you're protecting the paint that's there, right? If there's no paint, it's
So
kind of defeats the purpose of a wrap.
that's what I'm trying
you
to
know what I
understand
mean?
now. So are you saying that vinyl wrapping is not a substitute for paint? It's more of a protector?
Not vinyl wrapping. Color changing,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, sure, but you can't put vinyl on a bare panel, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so there
Like
has to
if-
be paint on it.
Pretty much. Paint
Okay.
or a primer. And then
Okay.
primer, but if, right?
So does everybody have vinyl wrapping wrong? Is it actually not a paint replacement, but more something that you can use to protect your paint and
Correct.
preserve
yeah.
it?
So you see out there many times many people do they just fix the rust.
Mm-hmm.
They put the Bondo, they put primer, and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see it underneath the paint. It looks like it's in the middle of a bodywork.
Mm.
That's a cheaper alternative. It won't last as long as putting vinyl on paint.
Okay. So I know there's a lot of people on the internet that say, oh, vinyl wrapping, it's only useful if you're going to keep it for like a couple years. Is that true?
It depends. So the normal stuff, what you see behind us, that's all made. It's either cast or calendar. So this stuff, yeah,
What
it's
does that mean?
good question. It's the way the vinyl is made. Okay, so the difference is cast
Mm-hmm.
is melted plastic,
Okay.
pretty much. Simplified, it's melted plastic
Okay.
and then pressed down. Like
Okay.
cast, you know how
Like cast metal, cast
exactly.
steel.
It's
yeah.
pretty much the same thing. They press it down and they make the sheet.
Okay.
Calendar, on the other hand, they melt down the plastic
Mm-hmm.
and they roll it through a roller.
Which one is more durable?
I would say, well, cast.
Cast. is
Cast,
more-
yeah. Calendar will
tougher.
shrink a lot more than cast will.
Okay.
By stronger, it won't withstand stone chips
Which one?
as well. They both are the same. No,
What?
again,
I'm asking you which one's more durable, calendar or cast?
they're both the same.
They're both the same.
As
Okay.
in withstanding stone chips, they're both the same.
Okay, so they both do the same job of protecting your paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes to PPF, then that's a totally different.
Completely different, eh?
Exactly. Yeah.
And why is that?
It's much thicker. It's much more stretchier. It's got self healing properties.
So when customers come in and they're looking to get their car wrapped, like, do you present them with the option between
I do,
cast versus
I do,
calendar?
but I tell them there's pretty much two options. Well, there's two options when it comes to color change. There's either cast and calendar,
Yeah.
which is one category, and there's PPF, which is a different category. Now they both fall in a very different price range.
So color change PPF is also an option, which is what you're
Nowadays, yeah.
saying. Okay.
But
Which one would you recommend? Or does it just
it
depend on
really
your
depends
budget?
what you want to do. It really depends how, if you want to protect your, because PPF mainly is to protect paint underneath. Now they made the color PPF so you can change it if you have a black McLaren, and let's say you want to go purple, pink. You don't have to spend 30 grand painting it, right?
Yeah.
And then lose your warranty and so on. So you do color PPF,
But that
and it will
co-
protect your paint underneath and changes the color.
so that PPF though fundamentally is different. It has different properties from vinyl.
Correct. Then the calendar and cast, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we just heard from Stefan. Now we're going to hear from Philip, who is also another one of our 3M certified techs here at Euro. Philip,
Yes, sir.
how you doing?
Good. How are you? I have my
Great.
coffee, so
I notice on every single vehicle that we wrap here,
Yeah.
there's such a attention to detail, even where like it overlaps, and you know it may go inside one of the door jambs. The
Mhm.
lines are so precise and cut perfectly. What is it that you would say sets apart a cheap looking wrap
compared
from?
to a good one. Yeah, I think that's a very good question to ask. So everybody can. It's pretty easy to wrap flat panels.
Okay.
So I think it's when you start to go to look at the corners,
Mm-hmm.
seams, and all that. A very good wrap job
Mhm.
is one that all the corners are nicely tucked in.
Okay.
They're cut nicely. Um, uh, Another one is a lot of times when we take the vinyl off and
Yeah.
people want to change the color. A lot of people use a lot of glue, and that's
Along
just
with
not
the vinyl.
underneath the vinyl. Yeah, to keep
So vinyl and glue.
correct. They're just scared that the vinyl is gonna lift,
Mm.
so they're adding an extra, I guess, layer of glue.
Is that necessary?
Not, not really. In most cases, no.
If you do it properly. you
So
shouldn't need it.
especially if it's a car that has good paint,
Mhm.
the vinyl, the glue
Mhm.
is meant to stick.
Most people don't know that, and they're scared,
Yeah,
and they just throw tons of glue on it.
exactly. Yeah, they just don't want to take the risk of the vinyl lifting.
Mhm.
But if you do it properly, if you have to stretch it, and you will have to stretch it, then make sure you post it properly,
Okay. Yeah.
and then you're gonna prevent that from happening.
Hmm.
So yeah, and you can see the glue underneath.
True. Okay.
So yeah, tucking in also the seams. You have to know how to overlap them so that it doesn't show.
Mm.
Because you can do it in a way where no one will ever know that there's a seam there.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
And that's, I guess, more strategically figuring out where you want to make those seams, right?
exactly. Yeah. So usually Stefan and I, before we start a wrap, we go over the whole car.
Okay.
And if it's, say, a complicated bumper, usually bumpers have seams. We go over and say, okay, we're gonna have a seam here, a seam here. We're gonna do this, and that.
Yeah.
So before we even start wrapping,
Yeah.
we know exactly
Where it's
where
gonna
the seams
be.
are gonna be, and then from there you know which section to wrap first, so that
Cool.
the seams won't show.
With other cheaper looking wraps, you know, people may not go in with a game plan like that.
Correct.
And they kind of just, hey, let's just start wrapping it.
Exactly,
And then they
yeah.
realize, oh man, now we got to cut this. Oh, we got to cut this. But they
Yeah.
didn't plan for it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, when you first started wrapping, I remember me, Benny, and Stefan was the same thing. We started on our own cars,
Mhm.
and you start wrapping, you're like, oh, that doesn't work. You know, that's too much lift. So we have to cut here, put a seam here, do this,
Yeah.
do that. So I guess when you're starting off, make sure
It's a
you
learning experience.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys have seen Ryan on the channel already. This is Ryan. Ryan, you want to introduce yourself? Who are
Hi
you?
guys, I'm Ryan. I'm an apprentice here.
Awesome. Ryan's a cool guy. He loves BMWs, but more than that, he loves K20s. So we're gonna ask him.
Sure.
We're gonna ask him
Yeah,
a
we'll go with that.
question here. In your opinion, do you think that modern BMWs are just too complicated for their own good?
I would say no.
Yeah.
I would say they're not too complicated. It's just a lot of people say they're very complicated just because they don't know what's going on, right? Like a lot of people don't understand it or
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
worked on stuff like that before, so it is complicated to just a normal person. But
But you don't think it's overcomplicated to the point where it's ruining the car?
I feel like there's a lot of shortcuts they make too, like having plastic internals.
Yeah.
Like with the early stages of the B58, there was a plastic propeller for the oil pump.
Ooh.
Yeah, which was failing.
For
Well,
the
this-
oil pump?
Yeah, the oil pump. It was the plastic propeller in the oil pump.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. Yeah, so a lot of them were failing, and it was bad. So there's been lots of revisions since then. But
I wonder if that's overcomplication or just the mass production of these engines.
yeah.
Interesting.
Hound it. Noggin. See ya.